Well, MAPS is about continuing the momentum that has put this city in a very envious position here in 2009. Just this week we were named as the #1 city in the country to launch a business, and that's no accident. I mean, these things don't happen by chance. And what MAPS did and what MAPS for Kids has helped set up is the opportunity to move this city forward. And the 8 projects we have listed for MAPS 3, I think are going to continue the quality of life improvements, continue the economic development, and do a wonderful job toward keeping our kids and grandkids wanting to live in Oklahoma City.
One of the concerns has been expressed over and over again when you start talking about the basis for economic development. We were at Douglas High School earlier this week when you were there, and you made a wonderful presentation. And we also like to take the time, first of all, to thank you for being there and thank you for being here today. And this goes back some years when the question was posed to you as mayor, will there be a MAPS 3? And you says, okay, wait, hold on, let's get through some of this. Then the time came. And there was a survey that was conducted. Talk to us about that survey, how this whole thing evolved as we move into talking about those 8 particular projects.
I mean, I remember in the winter of 2003 and 4 when I was running for mayor, people wanted to talk about MAPS. I said, look, if we don't do a good job at MAPS for Kids, there won't be another MAPS project. The citizens are only going to allow us to continue this growth as long as we've done a good job. And I couldn't be more proud of Douglas High School. I think that's a beautiful building and like being over there every time. And we did have a very, I thought, intimate conversation with voters earlier this week. I think the citizens are very open-minded about MAPS. I think they want to be convinced, but they're going to have to be convinced. No one's going to go into that ballot box and just rubber stamp this because it has a MAPS 3 name on it. We're going to have to illustrate how these initiatives are going to improve the quality of life. And as we went through the kind of call for entries in 2007 and asked people, first of all, would you like to see a list to consider of MAPS going forward? And secondly, if so, what would you like to see? 85% of the people that responded in a non-scientific survey said that yes, they would like to see MAPS continue, and they had 2,747 ideas. And so we started trying to look through these ideas, and a lot of them were similar. And what I'm very proud of this is a citizen-led initiative. I mean, we took the responses on that website and tried to figure out a way they could work into this city's future going forward. And one of the things that we heard over and over again, and I shouldn't say over and over again because there's different pools of thought, but one thing I wanted to make sure happened was that this just wasn't all about downtown. When there's still people out there that think it should be all about downtown, and I like downtown too, but people don't all live downtown. People, I live 10 miles from downtown, so I mean, it's not like I don't appreciate life in the suburbs, and I know how important downtown is to my life in the suburbs. It's important to create a great downtown, but that doesn't mean MAPS has to be all about that. And that's why you've seen us build, first of all, finishing out our bicycle trail master plan. 57 miles of bike trails to complete going around the city. 75 miles more sidewalks to put along our public buildings. And this is beyond what we put in the last bond issue, which is considerable more sidewalks to be placed in there. And then these health and wellness centers for seniors that I think are so important going forward. I looked at some demographic data a year or two ago that showed me that the number of seniors in Oklahoma City is going to double in the next 20 years. And we've got to get ready for that. And I looked around and saw some very progressive cities that have invested in these health and wellness centers for seniors, and I thought, that's exactly what we need to do to place this city's priorities on health. And these facilities are going to be built geographically around the city. They're not going to be downtown. We're going to build 4 or 5 of them. And they're going to be, for the citizens of Oklahoma City. And then you look at the projects that are downtown, the streetcar, the park, the convention center. All of these are about economic development and quality of life. And I tell you why we're successful in the job creation standpoint now, why we have the lowest unemployment in the country. It's because we've realized early on that today people are going to live where they want to live. The old idea that you went to where the job was is outdated. Today people are going to live where they want to live, and the jobs are going to go to them.
Okay.
One of the major questions that I've been asked is to ask you is that what other areas other than downtown will benefit from MAPS 3?
Well, I think everyone in the city will benefit. I mean, that's why I think having the bike trails going throughout the city and having the health centers built around the city and the sidewalks show that this is not all about downtown. We'll be improving the fairgrounds, but I think maybe the most inclusive project at all, because just about everybody goes to the fairgrounds for one reason or another, on a yearly basis, whether they're going to the state fair or they're going to a horse show or a gun show or an arts and crafts show or an antique show. And we need to improve the facilities out there. When I was a little kid, I remember going to the fair, and when I think back about what that was like, it's pretty much the same fair. I mean, those same buildings, same streets. We need to invest in the fairgrounds for us, not just the horse shows, but in the amenities that the citizens of Oklahoma City enjoy.
Now tell me something. You forgot the cowboys are probably in the fairground too, by the way. We've been receiving calls. We've been talking about you coming all week long. We appreciate it. That because you have the upside and you have the downside. You have the positive and you have the negative. But some of the calls we received, one in particular, was talking about the firefighters and the policemen. And they're saying, we're not asking for more money. We were just asking for more manpower in the city of Oklahoma City, because if you build all of these things, we're still going to be short-handed and we're not able to get what we're asking for. Why should we be for that?
Well, this city's commitment to public safety is extraordinary. I mean, 2/3 of our general fund budget goes to public safety. We have an additional 3/4 cent permanent sales tax that goes to public safety. And this community's, I think, tradition of investing in public safety goes almost unmatched across the country. We don't have a single department that wouldn't like more people. I bet here at Perry Broadcasting, there's departments that would like to have more people. But I doubt that the employees determine the staffing levels. I've never worked that way at any place I ever worked. I mean, in television, I had 12 different bosses one day I counted up. Not one of them allowed me to go in and tell them how many people they should hire. And so we take a lot of confidence in the fact that our citizen surveys show that the citizens of Oklahoma City are very pleased with the level of services they're getting now, whether it's parks or it's police or it's fire. People are very satisfied with it. And in this uncertain economic time, we asked our labor unions to accept last year's contract. We said we need to roll over last year's deal. We can't give you a raise, but we're not going to cut any positions and we're not going to cut any salaries. And we've had a very unfavorable reaction. And I don't want to get into labor. I don't want to get into labor negotiations on the radio. But the moment they start trying to draw maps into it, that's when I have to stand up and say, look, enough's enough. We're not going to let the city's future get hijacked because of a labor negotiation that's taking place.
Because that is under an entirely different label as far as hiring more people.
Well, that's
it has
right.
Nothing to do with MAPS.
MAPS is a dedicated sales tax for a certain period of time.
There you go.
You wouldn't ever put salaries into a tax that's going to go away.
Okay.
I mean, that's just not fundamentally
Absolutely.
the way that you fund salaries.
One of the phrases that you used continuously, and it was very appropriately placed, was ongoing subsidy. That MAPS is not an ongoing subsidized piece of business. And as a result, it's kind of difficult to tie in positions and salaries and that type of thing. And I think that's what you just said.
Well, that's right. There's operations budget and then there's ongoing. And 2/3 of our general fund budget, which is the ongoing operations, goes to police officers and firefighters.
Let's move over another thing we were calling, different callers were calling in reference to, well, why? Because they think everything is going to be downtown, but just hold that. Why would I vote for MAPS to extend my penny sales when on the east side there are no parks? They're not even considering what we're lacking on the east side in Oklahoma City, and they're still wanting to build something that they consider special downtown. And I refuse to vote for it because they're not taking us into interest before MAPS.
I think if you look, you'd see that per capita and per square mile, there's more parks in the northeast side than any other quadrant.
That are open?
Yes, I mean, if you look at the number of parks that are out there and the golf courses and the things that are available on the northeast side, I think you'll see that we've invested heavily on the northeast side.
Okay.
We've not had the job creation on the northeast side that I think we should have. And if you want to say that that's the fault of City Hall and we haven't invested, I'll take my share of responsibility. I'm not satisfied with the job creation that's taken place, but the city has invested.
When you talk about job creation, some calls we received earlier, we're talking about getting involved in this whole contracting process when you start building the buildings and making the, redirecting streets, just the whole construction piece. Could you talk to our listening audience about how that process works and how they can get involved? Because that's a major concern on the federal level, the state level, and it's getting ready to be even more so on the city level, okay?
Well, we follow the state guidelines.